Hello everybody, welcome, Gratzkul here, and thanks for joining to Let's Play Subnautica. This is an early access game out on Steam, released by Unknown Worlds.
Scanning the Aurora, zero life signs detected.
Sorry, she's talking to me.
Levels detected. The main drive core has malfunctioned. The
Cool.
dark matter containment field has dropped to 36% amplitude. Continuing to monitor.
Okay, well then, awesome. It sounds like something's going to blow up. So anyway, this is an open world underwater adventure game, and it is really early access, and as many of you already know, early access comes with a couple of caveats, if you will. First off, the game is not finished. Content is always subject to change. It's not necessarily always going to be optimized, and quite frankly, there's just not a whole lot to do in the end game. But that's not going to stop us from playing now, is it? So we're just going to dive right in and take a look to see what she's got to offer. Now, I already have played this a little bit, so I know at least what I'm doing. And I'll try my best to explain it as we go along here. So, coming in, you crash from this giant ship, and this is our little escape pod. And this is where everything starts, right? So you've got your crafting station, they call them fabricators, and then your fragment analyzer, which is basically allows you to tech up in the game. And it's very Minecraft-esque in that. Oh, okay. So you've got this little locker here starting the game, and from what I can tell, this is all randomly generalized. It's generally randomized. It's randomized as far as what you're gonna get, right? Randomly generated, I think, is what I was trying to say. And here, it looks like I got myself a stasis rifle, the Sea Glide, and some materials. We'll keep that on us. Stasis rifle is one of the few weapons in the game. It is what it is. What it says it is. It's a stasis field. So you shoot it at something, and if you can actually hit, it puts them in stasis. This little guy here is frozen until this bubble goes away. So to have this so early in the game is pretty impressive. And then the first thing I picked up is called the Sea Glide, and this is basically just a little propeller that scoots you along. Now without this, I would have been swimming quite slowly. This is huge, starting the game with this stuff. So we'll just go in. I mean, normally I would craft myself some fins to increase the swim speed just a little bit. But now that we got this guy, starting off is going to be a breeze. And materials in this game are interesting. The mechanics behind it. So a lot of things are harvestable, like these mushrooms. And each item that you pick up has different properties. Like the scrap metal here is one of our main crafting ingredients. We'll break that down for titanium. And then things like this, here we got little salt deposits. And she warns you every time you run out of oxygen. So down in the bottom left, you've got your O2 meter, which is how long you can hold your breath. Your health bar below that, your food below that, with the little carrot symbol, as well as your hydration meter. So you've got to drink and you have to eat, otherwise you will die. So far, death doesn't have a whole lot of consequence that I've noticed. If you die, you respawn at your little landing pod here. And there are many different biomes. The one that you start in is, I think they call it safe shallows. And so what's going on, the little animatron voice is telling me, I think it's the ship's computer there, the Aurora, she's telling me that it's about to blow up. And we don't want to be around when that happens. I don't know if it'll actually hurt me, but either way, I don't want to be around for it. So all my actions here are by left mouse clicking. And chase this little guy down and capture him and use him as a food source. There we go. And the first time you get something, it's going to default to your hand, and you just use your hotbar to switch back to whatever. Now, if I were to catch another one, I don't think it's going to default to it, so we'll see. See if it can prove me wrong. Where'd you go? And these little buggers are fast. When you've only got flippers, it's a little bit hard getting food starting off, but we've kind of started the game with cheat mode. Not literally, but...
From the Aurora show severe instability in the primary drive core. The central dark.
Alright, we're going to jump back into the pod here so I can show you what crafting's like.
10.
Oh, it's going to blow up.
8.
Let's see if we can watch it.
6. 5. 4.
3.
3.
2. Boom. Okay, so they did actually put the explosion in the game, which is something I've not seen before. Normally I hide underwater when this happens. So there it is. That event actually opens up the Aurora for exploration. And now there's an irradiated zone around it. Its reactors are emitting radiation. If you get too close without a radiation suit, you will take damage and die. And you can craft the radiation suit here. So the crafting menu is pretty limited right now, but it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it tells you everything that you need to craft an item. For instance, silicone, you need 2 quartz, and you just click on the button, and as long as you've got it in your inventory, it will craft it for us. So we collected a bunch of scrap metal there just a minute ago, and tab opens up your inventory. So here we've got our scrap metal, and if I go back into the fabricator here and go to resources, materials, I can craft 3 titanium using 1 scrap metal. So I'll just click on it, it's going to go ahead and build it, and then it will dump that titanium back into your inventory here. And there are 2 ways to get titanium. One is through the scrap metal, and the other is through mining nodes, and you'll see them as little sandstone. They look like rocks. You'll see me pounding on them every now and then. So far, titanium is the most used crafting material that I've seen. That's not to say that something else isn't used more in late game, but just from what I've seen here. And then within the resources tab, you've got the electronics. And this is all the stuff that's basically going to advance your tech tree. You need batteries and power cells for your vehicles and your bases. And since we've actually caught ourselves these peepers, we can go in and cook them for food, and it requires the fish itself and then a salt deposit. So salt is also very important to have on hand. And our food meter is already down to 20%, so we're going to cook these and eat them real quick. And again, it just dumps it right into inventory, and then left click, and it tells you down there, right underneath the item, it tells you how much food and H2O it brings up, as well as how to use it. Left mouse button being eat. And then here we've got an item with a question mark, and it took me a while to actually figure this one out, but it's really straightforward. And anything that you find that you don't know anything about, you just throw it in an analyzer. So I'll bring that over with shift left click, and I don't know if it's going to pick it up in the video, but there's a buzzing sound going on. It's basically it breaking down this item and researching the true form, if you will. And up here in blueprints, we're going to see the little vehicle that it's spitting out is called a sea moth, and it'll pop up here when it's done. But here's just a list of items that you already know how to make, and we'll get into the building portion of this a little bit later. Let's see if we can get any tools off the get-go. No, knife, we need some silicone, and yeah, the builder's a little bit down the way. Magnesium and combustible for welder. So we can't actually do any of that right now. So we got to go back out and get some stuff. Actually, we really need an air tank. So air tanks will expand your oxygen levels by 30 seconds. And we need glass. So down we go. And it's nighttime. Nighttime can get kind of hairy. And here, okay, so here's some crystals. These quartz crystals are what allow you to craft silicone, glass, and that little stutter you see there is just an example of their optimization. Generally, once you've been through an area and loaded all the textures, then you don't run into this issue. but starting off you may experience it.
Urgency. 10 seconds of oxygen remaining.
So yeah, without that oxygen tank, it's a real bummer trying to get anything done because you've only got 40 seconds to be underwater. Less because you still have to make your way back to the surface. But so we're going to do some quick gathering here. Looks like a lot of quartz in this area. And these little guys, they call them air sacs. What's up, buddy? These are what provide you with water.
Urgency. 10 seconds of oxygen.
At least in the beginning level. I shouldn't say level. The beginning stages of the game. And, looks like we got some quartz up here. So those are really handy to have. And I find that they're really easy to capture at night. I mean, they just kind of hang out and don't do much. Grab one more of those. And grab you. Okay, one more. I like to at least have them on hand. Now, if you ever get too far away from your beacon and you're lost, now I know we can see it right now with the blue lights and all, but that flashing white beacon will allow you to easily find your pod if you get lost, which is really handy. And later in the game, you can actually build your own beacon, so you can throw one on a base that you've just built underwater or any point of interest that you want to keep track of. So we're going to go ahead and create some water. So again, just going into the crafting menu. And then go back to inventory, left click to drink. And then make one more and then store it for later. So we'll throw it in the locker here with shift left click. And what did we need for that air tank again? We need titanium and glass. Then again, any item that you craft, it just jumps right automatically into your inventory. And that expanded our O2 levels to 70. And these will stack. You can build a bunch of them and stack them up there, but the downfall to that is that it's taking up inventory room. So if you want to go out and collect items, then you have obviously less area to store them. And nothing stacks in this game. I think it's pretty much to prevent people from going out and just filling up their inventory and building a huge base right off the get-go. We need some silicone.
New technology acquired.
Yeah. Okay, so it just got done researching the sea moth. We'll go up here and check it out. And there it is. It's just a little submersible that you can cruise around in. Relatively fast, but a little bit frail. Alright guys, we're going to cut it here tonight, and we'll pick back up with the base building, give you a little tour on how that works out. Pick a spot for it, and as always, I appreciate you stopping by. Your time, very important to me, so thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, hit like. If you liked the channel, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more Let's Plays. Thanks guys, that's it, we're done.